Secondly, Muhammad failed a direct test to his claim of prophethood. We're told in Bukhari, volume 4, number 546, this was something narrated by Anas, that this man came and he said, I am going to ask you about 3 things which nobody knows except a prophet. So this man came to Muhammad and said, I have 3 questions. Your answer will prove whether or not you're a prophet. Now, it's very important. This is the context. Number 2, what follows is not speculation or a guess or personal opinion of Muhammad. Let me give you the questions. What is the first portent of the hour? Second, what will be the first meal taken by the people of paradise? 3, why does a child resemble its father, or why does it resemble its maternal uncle? All right? Allah's apostle said, Gabriel has just now told me of their answers. So is this not a claim of an inspired answer from Muhammad being tested? Now, what's his answer? The first portent of the hour will be a fire that will bring together the people from the east to the west. The first meal of the people of paradise will be the extra lobe of fish liver, whatever that is. As for the semblance of the child to its parents, if a man has sexual intercourse with his wife and gets discharged first, the child will resemble the father. And if the woman gets discharged first, the child will resemble her. Now here we have an exact situation. The physical characteristics of a child is related to the sexual climax of which parent went first. This immediately involves us in genetics, the study of DNA, and the realization that sexual climax has nothing to do with the physical characteristics of a child. The other 2, as to what they will be eating, these fish livers, since we can't go and verify that, we can't do that. The end of the world we can't verify, but the one we can about why a kid will look like it is father or mother, it has to do with chromosomes, people. It has to do with DNA, and I believe that Muhammad failed the test. Thirdly, Muhammad believed in magic, the evil eye, amulets, omens, spells. He was superstitious about many things. That's why he talked about having odd number of stones when he went to the bathroom instead of even number. Matter of fact, he was afraid whenever a strong wind blew. He became frightened when there was an eclipse. While this is bad enough, the hadith tells us that Muhammad at time was under magical spells. He was bewitched. This is not me. This is the hadith. And as a matter of fact, while he was under these magical spells, he would say and do things that, he would say things that were not true. He would do things which, as a matter of fact, he did not remember. Oh, for example, here, Bukhari, volume 4, hadith number 400. Once the prophet was bewitched so that he began to imagine what he had done, that he had done a thing which in fact he had not done. I give you the multiple references. Now here's the point. This man would fall under the spell of various magicians. There was one time a Jewish sorcerer who cast a spell on him. He would say things like he said, I have intercourse with all of my wife in the morning before I leave for prayers. And then you have the testimony of the wives. He was bewitched when he said that because he never came near the harem and didn't sleep with any of us. Now, once it is admitted that this man, Muhammad, could be under the spell of witchcraft and say things, that untruth that he slept with his wives, when as a matter of fact he didn't, and do things, This immediately leads us to the conclusion that maybe the whole thing was the result of being under the spell. Later, Muslim scholars say that, such as Tabari and others, of the satanic verses, that Satan inspired him to put a verse into the Quran and then it was taken out. Again, I'm not inventing this. I'm just reporting to you what is in the historical record. Given the fact that he could be under the spell of sorcerers and magic, and he was involved in the world of the occult, this is condemned in the Torah. In Deuteronomy 9, it condemns any dalliance with the occult art, such as amulets and such that he was involved with. There may be Muslims here who have an amulet to ward off the evil eye, things of that nature. Fourth, the Hadith tells us, quote, Allah made the prophet wealthy through conquests, end quote. Scholars have pointed out that as Christians challenged the Muslims about the life of Muhammad, the Muslims slowly began to reconfigure Muhammad so that he was more like Jesus. So that in some of the miracles, you have a miracle of Jesus redressed into a miracle of Muhammad. The feeding of the 5,000, and Jesus brought the people and they sat in groups. Then you pick up the hadith, Muhammad brought the people, sat them down, and he fed the thousands. Or where Moses got wilderness in the universe, Muhammad gave water in the wilderness. You have this aping of biblical things. We also have this issue. Jesus did not gain personal wealth through his preaching. But Muhammad made himself, his family, and his tribe immensely wealthy because of all the attacks on caravans and cities and things of that nature. Now, for that reason, some Muslims have said that Muhammad was so poor, all he could eat was dates and drink water. But the hadith says that Allah made the prophet wealthy. I submit this leads to the question, maybe because I'm a New Yorker, could he be in it for the money? Fifthly, he did not keep the rules he imposed upon others. Everyone admits that he had more than 4 wives, while evidently that was the law. Also in Bukhari, we read in volume 4, a question arose concerning wills. And this is, again, not something that I have invented. Please don't blame me. Here it is. This said, did the prophet make a will? He replied, no. I asked him, how is it then that the making of a will has been enjoined on the people, or that they were ordered to make a will, when Muhammad did not make a will? This gives me pause. When someone imposes rules but doesn't keep them himself, that gives me pause. Sixthly, he commanded that anyone who fell away from Islam should be killed. I have a whole book out there by Maududi and others where it says the death sentence for apostasy. I was on a radio discussion with a Muslim, and he said, no, Islam is a religion of peace. We don't believe in killing people anymore. And I said, Salman Rushdie. He said, I refuse to discuss Salman. I said, well, you're on radio and you're going to discuss it. Do you condemn the death sentence of Salman Rushdie, or do you agree that this man should be put to death? Before he was finished, he said he should die. I said, then if he should die for what he said, then there's no religious freedom, no freedom of the press, no human rights, no civil rights. It is true that we are told in the Hadith as well as in the Quran that the punishment of apostates is death.